Your brain craves simplicity, but specific everyday verbs compress your reality and identity into false verdicts with no expiration date. Repeating statements like, "This is impossible," or "I'm anxious," completely collapses your context-rich world into a tiny, narrow box. By default, standard language continuously suffocates your personal agency. Tonight, we break that compression. Through my background in language patterns and subconscious level coaching, I've explored how these automatic structures shape human perception without your notice. You cannot outthink a system that runs underneath thinking, so instead, we'll work right where it operates. This E-Prime guided experience helps loosen those automatic interpretations and dissolve the hidden certainty buried inside everyday language. And as that loosening begins, space opens. Perception expands to hold more context, more flexibility, more accuracy. And you don't need to do anything with this. Just allow your attention to settle deeply onto your breath. As you relax, the mind opens. You step into a gray corridor. Sterile emptiness stretches into the distance. Concrete covers every surface, from floor to walls to the ceiling above you. As you observe this space, your breathing naturally slows. A smooth, steady stream inhale through your nose. The warmth of each exhale meets the moist air of the corridor, creating a faint rhythmic condensation as you make your way further down the hall. Noticing the muscles of your face, how your jaw carries the residual tension of the day. Giving it some more attention, you take another deep breath and gently allow the jaw to open, feeling a gentle stretch in the flesh below your ears as you expel the warm breath through slightly pursed lips. Your eyes spot a thin, fractured vein running through the concrete wall in front of you and begin tracing its path. A green luminescence peeks from behind the wall as the crack appears to expand, the light intensifying, as if your attention encourages the concrete to yield its rigid restraint. Holding momentarily before it gives way, small fragments break off first, then larger geometric chunks begin breaking apart, falling away from the opening as it grows. Moving closer, you notice a drop in temperature. A dense chill escapes the opening as your body naturally adjusts to this shift. You return to your breath, noticing how easily your chest expands with each deep inhale. Cool air fills your lungs as you continue forward into the green mist. Your eyes track a disturbance a few yards ahead. A dark, rocky form emerges from a gap in the floor. It widens as the lithic growth works its way further above ground. Getting closer, you see the stone rift rising, displacing more concrete as fragments and rocks collect along the edges where the strange form births itself before you. Continuing toward the rift further down the hall, the concrete room loosens its resistance, weighing you down. The atmospheric density spreading more evenly throughout as you approach. Heat and pressure dissipate through the corridor as the stone grows taller, splitting down the middle to reveal something fluid and alive. A luminous pearlescent gelatin erupts from the hollowed-out core, filling the cavity, the outer membrane congealing to hold the wet, turbulent fluid. The light from above reflects off this membrane shell as the lithic mound appears to grow towards you, expanding to expose the gooey center surrounded by stone. The dense fluid inside dancing rhythmically, churning and swirling as the blue core pulses in a low-frequency wave from within the glossy membrane, as more pockets of light with lilac and rose particles reveal themselves. Moving closer, you reach out, extending both hands to touch, your fingers gently disturbing the viscous turbulence as they pierce the cool, heavy medium, the gelatin accepting and allowing as you prepare to go all in, taking one last deep breath of anticipation before pressing your face into the moist membrane and opening your eyes. The light behind you fades as your vision adjusts to the soft, diffuse luminosity drifting through the medium. Your first breath fills your mouth and throat with rich, aerated moisture as your lungs receive the effortless evanescence of liquid density dissolving to nothing, instantly melting into the warmth of your body as you absorb the soft, whipped weightlessness. Countless rich oxygenated microbubbles, releasing immense cool vitality directly into the bloodstream. Your body instantly converts the oxygen more efficiently than standard breath. As the fluid envelops you within and without, the heavy medium completely suspends you. Every breath of frothy vitality, drawing more oxygen than the one before. Your body easily adjusts to the thick jelly embrace. Every muscle holding tension begins releasing in waves until the sensation travels through even the smallest muscles as your body surrenders its charge, the medium absorbing the remaining electric static of the day, safely dispersing this tension through the massive volume of gelatin. The fluid density takes over the burden of gravity entirely. A precise thermal equilibrium establishes itself across your skin, allowing you to completely acclimate to the deep, silent suspension. Feeling the richness of now pulsing across every inch of your physical frame, the rush of pure oxygen traveling through your bloodstream and filling the lungs radiates a refreshing tingle unlike anything you felt before. Continuing forward, gliding through the deep blue density towards the soft bioluminescence ahead, the threshold yields. Your hands meet the edge of the gelatin, the elastic membrane accepting the steady pressure of your approach. Stretching against the boundary, the cool membrane draws taut, your form pressing forward as the seal gives way, allowing you to break through. A magnetic adhesion draws every gelatin molecule from the surface of your body, lifting away, leaving you dry as you spill forward. You exhale your last breath of gelatin into the total decompression. Your lungs fill with a full measure of clean air, finding their natural rhythm as you adjust to the other side of the portal, gliding through the interstice, acclimating to the expanse of an alternate universe. Turning back to see where you've come from, the portal's luminous liquid gateway, gelatin pulsing and churning behind the membrane. Your gaze lingers for a moment and then drifts forward, regaining your sense of direction in this new environment, taking in the atmosphere and everything in front of you. You notice a strange cluster of mountains on the horizon. Swimming towards them through the thin milky haze, you begin making out more details the closer you get. Extending in every direction appears a cluster of shipping containers hanging in the absolute suspension of almost non-gravity. These long, rectangular configurations of steel occupying the void of the lush mountain valley. Quite curiously, you watch as pieces of the whole break free from the cluster, gliding slowly to another area and reattaching. Each unit carries rust gradients along the seams and rivets, peeled layers of paint revealing older structural colors beneath the weathered surface. Detached from the solid ground, these perpetually self-organizing containers, effortlessly enveloped by the tropical forest, as if it grew to one day soften the fall of this floating city of steel. Carefully studying the particular physics of this world, you continue watching the spatial configuration. A handful of these metal boxes automatically rearranging themselves with a patience more fitting for geology than industry. Your eyes rest upon a cluster of units several meters above, drifting west in a slow and smooth arc through the air, before softly clicking into place. Another one breaks free from below, ascending at a more profound pace, further establishing the layered depth within the structure. You turn from the self-erecting choreography, your gaze scanning the greater expanse beyond the horizon. Vibrant emerald light filters through the atmospheric mist, the diffuse glow spreading far beyond the mountains. Returning to the action of the constantly evolving city of steel, you study the deep malachite tones, reflecting where light pours through the structural seams in constant flux. Nothing here holds a permanent address, just like crossing a river twice. The pattern movement maintains a precise coordination, as though governed by an unseen logic. Each shift in position carries a familiar sense of déjà vu, as if the system has already performed this arrangement countless times before. Looking more closely, you begin to notice that function defines shape. Some containers appear to house hidden contents, while others open into living space. Each unit forms a block of movement within a larger synchronized system. They do not weld themselves together, but instead organize based on weight distribution, function, and direction. Connections appearing only when needed. Soft couplings forming and release as the system demands, allowing relative motion without permanent attachment. Each structure arrives into alignment, but never remains fixed. In this low-gravity atmosphere, they glide effortlessly. A single container drifts past, the weathered surface peeling to reveal layered rust beneath. Complex beauty earned over time. This orchestrated flow of containment, shifting shape and dimension to fit its contents, allows the whole system to expand and reorganize based on what the moment requires. The result is a calculated symphony of movement assembled from infinitely rearrangeable pieces into a unified whole of the present moment, continuously reshaping itself as time unfolds. The container drift slowly fades from your attention as your focus pivots towards the surrounding mountains. Out of the corner of your eye, an anomaly appears among the dense tree line, a slow ripple passing horizontally across the landscape, settling into the rustling leaves. The lush greenery parts as the forest peels back to reveal a clearing of dark stone. Drifting towards this clearing, the stone quickly expands in all directions, jutting out of the green mountainside, as if revealing itself only for you. Approaching the edge of this rocky threshold, it opens, teasing a dark, mysterious tunnel, beckoning you to venture inside. As you arrive, the rock seals the cave behind you. All exterior light disappears as you focus forward, deeper into the cavern. The dark stillness echoes the rhythm of your breath as it returns to a deep, slow intensity, journeying forward into the cool darkness, your hands tracing the wall, navigating the way deeper. Carefully continuing forward, the cave winds to the right, with a faint glow appearing in the distance as you round the corner. Shimmering flashes of red and indigo peeking through a cloudy gelatin, their flicker reflecting off the cave walls, illuminating the path ahead. Drawn in by the light, you continue toward the expanding glow of this milky translucent swirling at the center of the dark volcanic rock. This glossy luminous fluid meets your gaze invitingly as your hands reach out. The cool gelatin membrane momentarily resists your fingers before yielding to let you inside. Pockets of ambient light from deep within dance and shimmer as the thick, cloudy gelatin swirls and spins away like molten glass, revealing the deep, hypersaturated, glowing red and violet hues pulsing deep throughout. As you cross into the threshold, the churning, nebulous light currents surround you, weightlessly suspending you in the oxygenated gelatin. As you inhale the familiar cool foam mousse, melting down your throat and into your lungs, completely nourishing you. Every small movement meets the soft support of the gelatin cushioning as it absorbs your heat. Enjoying a moment of stillness, each breath more effortless than the one before. The red and violet hues deepen as the median closes completely around you. Pockets of warm bioluminescence drift by, no two moving at the same speed. The gelatin matches the temperature of your body perfectly, noticeably warmer than the previous portal. The warmth blends into your skin, each breath melting the oxygenated foam upon crossing your lips. A faintly sweet charge reaching the lungs, vitality moving effervescently through your bloodstream and gentle waves. As you focus on tracing the rich violet luminescence pulsing from deep within the gelatin, sending its low, rhythmic pulsing upward through the median. Every small movement forward, drawing soft resistance as the medium cushions each micro adjustment of your body settling. A slow, even warmth radiates within and without, barely perceptible as you move forward in the suspended weightlessness. The soothing resistance of the warm gelatin reaching the surface of your skin, the light sensation as the surrounding median mirrors your body heat. Only the next breath, the next movement, each one softening in sequence. A long, slow pulse moves through the median from ahead, the violet brightening and the supportive gelatin. Pushing forward, the median thins as you approach the outer membrane. A faint elastic surface tension catching the violet light in a slow oscillating sheen. Your hands press forward, noticing the cooler surface, much cooler than the gelatin it contains. The membrane drawing taut against your palms, stretching deeply as forward momentum tears a seam for you to escape. As that seal gives way, you cross through. A precise magnetic draw pulls the gelatin molecules back into the portal, from the surface of your body as you clear the gateway, open and still, your skin once again clean and dry. The first breath outside fills your lungs completely. A long, slow decompression moving from the crown downward through every joint simultaneously. The violet ether holds you in soft suspension in this open, effortless atmosphere. Far ahead, you notice something floating through the violet ether, spinning lights, it appears, coming from a structure. You venture forth, eventually reaching the heavy metallic hull of a rotating structure within reach. You swim toward, curious about what it contains. And as you get close, spending a moment to watch, searching for a way in, you inch closer, spotting a recessed panel and waiting for it to come back around. You grab hold, spinning along with the ship, momentarily, until a press of a button, the panel glides open, and you enter. The heavy panel closes behind you as the atmospheric pressure adjusts, returning you to the familiar weight and density of Earth gravity. Looking around, you notice there is more than one moving deck. You're spinning counterclockwise, and it appears another deck, an interior ring, is spinning the opposite direction. You return your attention to the room where you stand, adorned with plush velvet walls and warm amber lighting. Bookshelves line the curved walls, floor to ceiling, their spines carrying titles in an unknown language. The amber light catches the subtle variations in the book bindings, the wood grain of the shelves, the gold leaf lettering, catching and releasing the glow as you move towards them. Pulling a book from the shelf and opening it to a page somewhere near the center, words begin forming as you read them, the ink responding to exactly where your gaze lands, as if your attention generates the content in real time. You read a line and turn the page, watching the ink populate the words of the next idea. And as you flip through the pages quickly, you notice the ink begin to form, then fade as the next page comes into view. Finally settling on a page towards the end of the book, you watch the sentences assemble themselves, and as your mind drifts and eyes wander, the ink revises the page mid-thought. The words responding to where your eyes land once again, meeting you in your thoughts. You turn to another page, briefly looking up to notice the interior ring of the ship reveals a different room. When you look back down, the lines carry new text, happening before you could finish reading. Not because the meaning disappeared, because the meaning updated. You gently set the book back on the nearest shelf, taking a moment to study this lounge and everything inside it, before your attention turns back to the interior rooms of the inner ring. Carefully stepping inward, crossing the threshold, You find yourself now rotating clockwise at a significantly slower speed than the outer ring. This room glows noticeably brighter, more humid, filled to the brim with lush vines and flowering bushes, lining the walls, the aisles, fruit-producing trellises, each in different stages of ripening. Two distinct spectrums of light exist in this room. One side, a full spectrum bright white metal halide glow, nurturing the vegetation phase of growth for the developing plants. Seedlings pressing their first pale shoots upward, roots trailing in the nutrient solution below, visible through transparent channels. The other side of this biosphere, an intense warm spectrum glow, indicative of high-pressure sodium bulbs. The warm amber light kisses the mature leaves, basking and absorbing the ripening fruit ready for harvest. The overwhelming fragrance of citrus and tropical takes over your senses as your mouth waters before your eyes fully adjust to this photosynthetic paradise. Vines spilling over from their elevated platforms appear to come alive, as if showing you, asking for specific nutrients, hanging suspended from the ceiling with drip tubes in a variety of color. Their leaves brushing up against you to gain your attention, stretching toward their preferred nourishment. You oblige, your hand reaching out for the distribution tubing and placing it into the tray, watching their delighted relief in a turgid salute to your assistance, leaves lifting, almost as if smiling, the way a face changes when the right word lands. A visible brightening across the surface, a micro tremor moving through the stems outward to the tips of their leaves, returning your attention what they received, an exchange understood without the need of words. Looking up, you glance outward at the adjacent environment of the outer ring as it spins past. From this slower clockwise track, the rooms glide past as your eyes scan, taking in the scene. A chaotic artist studio littered with multiple projects at various stages of completion. A pottery wheel and table with clay sculpture on one end. Several canvases hanging along the walls. A projector screen centered in the room, surrounded by several easels holding canvas. Various splashes of pigment covering almost every surface on the painting side. The raw saturated pigment from cadmium red bleeding into ultramarine at the edges of one canvas catches your eye. The thick ridges of dried paint throwing hard shadows. Glancing back at the screen, you make out the image of a human silhouette, surrounded by expanding geometric patterns, pouring beyond the screen, multiplying across the floor, the ceiling, blending together. The studio as a whole radiates a frequency you register through the glass, a relentless high-intensity form of endless creation that never really pauses to receive what it makes. Unfinished masterpieces lean more like dominoes than canvas in one corner as you watch it slowly spin past. Taking all of this in with a mix of appreciation and curiosity, the glass between you and the friction holds. The next room appears. A hermetically sealed door glides into your view, surrounded by reinforced panes of glass. Nothing discernible past the opaque vapor churning inside the room. Occasional flickers of strobing light with a disorienting cadence in a variety of colors, each flash arriving before the last one fully resolves, hanging momentarily and vanishing as another catches your attention. The glow spreading through the thick fog, yet revealing nothing. Taking a deep breath of the humid tropical biosphere, your lungs filling with moist, warm air. You watch the vapor room complete its rotation and slide from view as the lounge comes around again, bringing your attention back to the lush greenery surrounding you. You turn to look inward at the center of this vessel. Deciding to leave the moving ring, you step across the inner threshold, admiring the glowing white, translucent white quartz bar, and take a seat. The quartz holds a throbbing glow from within, warm, low-frequency pulsing. The surface surprisingly warm to the touch as you stare, slightly mesmerized. Looking up, your eyes follow the shelves of the bar, bottles and glasses coming and going, as one drink after another appears to make itself, guided by an unseen hand. Your mouth waters as a desire for something fruity returns, something cold and refreshing. Before the thought fully forms words, a silver shaker, fresh cut fruit, and a glass brimming with ice arrange themselves in front of you on the bar. Your hand reaches out to sample a piece of fruit, but before you pluck it from the bowl, another hand, warm and gentle, meets yours. Unhesitating, the shaker fills with several different bottles over ice. The lid closes as it mixes and pours into the glass in front of you. Arriving within reach, made just for you. Your first sip, a flood of watermelon and tropical flavor with a hint of mint. A slight spiciness in the aftertaste. A perfect choice. The flavor profile multi-layered and effervescently refreshing. You look up at the flurry of activity behind the bar, curious about the unseen hand, attempting to engage by asking a question, answered only by silence. The unseen hand continues creating. Your second drink arrives just as you take the last sip of the first. Impeccable timing. as if this place and the unseen hand know the exact coordinates for what nourishes you first and what satisfies your desire without words. Your analytical loop might search for an explanation, try to argue, deconstruct the mechanism at play, while the deeper part of your mind simply catches the irony and enjoys receiving exactly what you require. This subtle, quiet recognition ripples through you. The unseen presence need not announce itself. It's simply already new. Turning to look behind you from this fixed center, watching the remaining section of the middle ring continue the slow, clockwise rotation. A complex obstacle course comes into view. A thick, rubbery spiderweb lattice formation stretches awkwardly between the elevated platforms. On one side, behind it, a silicon ball pit occupies the lower level, appearing to have the same density of the gelatin, the kind of environment demanding everything of the body just to move a few feet forward. Above this pit, 3 unique paths across. One, a zip line. Another, made of heavy aerial rings suspended in sequence, their grip demanding white-knuckle commitment. The path closest to you, a string of chains to swing from, using momentum to get from one to the next, crossing above the jelly pit. A climbing wall with various degrees of difficulty takes up most of the exterior wall. A rope net with various openings at the top, and several strategically placed firemen's poles to slide through the netting down into the room. The very last section holds a series of rotating tunnels in multiple directions, spinning at various speeds. You turn back toward the bar, placing both hands on the warm glow of the gently pulsing quartz as the architecture of the obstacles completes its rotation past the edge of your peripheral vision. Slow, steady, consistent, busy. You grab your glass, taking a few more sips of the cool, fruity, refreshing beverage. Your lips kissing the condensation of the glass as you stay anchored in this delicious moment of stillness, appreciating the environment as you observe the rotation around you. More than one feeling surfaces, surprisingly without conflict or contradiction. Everything fitting well within the appropriate context, time and space stretched to accommodate the full range of these experiences. Just as two things moving in opposite directions simultaneously, neither one requires the other to change. And at the center, Where you sit, nothing moves at all. The outer ring spins. The inner ring spins the other direction. And the glowing quartz holds fast. The rings can spin because the center holds. The observing capacity need not move. It watched the concrete fracture open, ventured the gray corridor, traversed the gelatin portal, observed the containers drifting and reorganizing, the movement in the tree line of the mountainside, crossed the threshold of volcanic darkness, and enjoyed a carousel of spinning rings. As you experienced it, the observer watched all of it and never moved.